facing me on the economy right now. It is... I've only got 15 harvesters because of that last attack, and here we go. Mass amount of hydras coming out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hydralisks. And let's get that Void Ray out of there. Only taking 1 point of non-shield damage, so that's very good. Overlords all across the map, spreading creep. That's going to make sure that I can't expand even if I were able to. I can't really leave my base right now because of my own design without building a warp prism. So I'm kind of trapped there. We've got an observer out. Always a good idea to scout as much as humanly possible. So we're going to move that across the map, get a look inside of the other player's base, take a look. 2 robotics facilities going up, and 2 stargates that I'm producing off of right now. Still only 1 gateway, 2 sentries down there. And those sentries are really just there to help with protecting against future baneling busts. So you can see we've got a lot more hydralisks making their way across the map, a couple of zerglings, okay, a few more zerglings than I expected making their way across, and you can see, alright, well, I know that at this point I need to, oh god, I'm sounding like I'm from New York State. I know I've got to get the Void Rays back into my base, and you can see there he is, going for another baneling bust. There's the cocoons, and there's the hydralisks. So that should be a really good combo to try and get my defenses down. Baneling's finishing up right now. And here's why you always want to have a couple of sentries by your front door on a single wide ramp like this. It's going to come in really handy for situations. Oh, I wasn't really quick on the draw there. I lost a bunch of cannons. So that was unfortunate for me. I did not use those sentries the way I should have. But that's okay. We're still able to hold off the hydralisks with what I've got up here. They're not going to be able to kill these photon cannons quite as fast as they would like. Fun thing about the Protoss shield upgrades, by the way, I remember earlier I was getting that. They do apply to your buildings as well as your units, so that extra little bit of armor will apply. And you can see I'm just going to use the Void Rays here, do a little bit of harass against the hydralisks, not letting them take too much damage, see what I can lure into my base. Lost 1 because of poor unit control down there. But it's just back and forth, microing. Just doing as much harass as I can, and here's another batch of zerglings. What's he going to do with those? A lot more zerglings showing up. So this is potentially going to suck for me in just a moment. But all this while, surprise, surprise, I have been getting Colossuses produced, and I've got 1 out, producing a second one. We do not have the upgrade just yet, but the extended thermal lance is something that you always want to get as soon as economically feasible when you're playing a Protoss, because, well, siege range on anything is just awesome. So, a mess of zerglings down here. I don't even want to try and count them, but oh, more banelings coming out. That's gonna be a problem in a minute. And we've got hydralisks just waiting, so out come the Void Rays again, a little bit more harassment. We've got 2 Colossus perched at the top. The extended thermal lance is being researched, trying to lure them into a trap. That's not going to work, but here come the banelings, and I was lucky enough to see it, and there is the force field, and most of those banelings are about to die to cannon fire and to a whole bunch of Colossus. Sentries, like I said, are just invaluable units. They're not going to kill a lot by themselves, but between the Guardian Shield and everything else, they are going to do a good job of keeping you safe. A little bit more harassing with the Void Rays, and you can see that all this while that we've been focusing down here, our Zerg player has started to expand. So he's got his natural, and he has moved on to another expansion right at the top middle. So that's... I don't even want to look at the income tab right now. I am sitting at a steady 300 minerals, and I got kind of lazy after the first baneling bust really did bad things to my economy because I have not really rebuilt. I've only got 15 harvesters, he's got 24, so still not a huge amount, and you can see I'm still researching the extended thermal lance. More Colossus is on the way, more harassment, and that is a huge mess of hydras down there. And we're going to try and lure a couple more into a trap. There goes down another force field, and that is a crispy hydralisk. So against this kind of an army, against massive ground like this, you want sentries to protect your front door, and the extended thermal lance is done. So We're going to drop that, and now, instead of doing harassing with the Void Rays, we've got the extra long range on the Colossus that are going to melt larger amounts of units. So we're going to do a harass with that, dance them down, back up the cliff if they're going to start getting weak. Kind of lost control of that one, but lucky me, he did not die. 35 hit points left. Still a lot of Banelings down there, so I've always got to be careful of that, and he's not going to try and get another one up. So we're going to send a little probe down here to scout, and he's going to lure a couple more Banelings up. Down goes the force field, and down goes a couple of Banelings. But good unit control from Arstilius, getting those Banelings back out of harm's way, and more harassing with the Void Rays, get them down, lure them back up, and couldn't quite get them back into harm's way where I could take them out. But here come the Colossus. So we got 2 out there right now, going to take a couple of steps, try and lure them back towards the gate. Void Ray is going to jump in the fray as well. Sentries trying to be heroes getting out there, but no, get back up. Your job is not to kill those. And at this point, it should be no problem for 2 Void Rays to take down the remainder of those. And toasting a last couple little Zerglings. And finally, now that this contain is broken and I'm free to get out, we can actually do some work to get a expansion set up. Here come the Banelings, and oh, just not enough of them there to take down that second Colossus. 15 kills on the one Colossus, 20 on the second, and we've got a third Colossus that is now out and ready to attack. So between the 3 Colossus, we should be good for holding off smaller ground armies. You want to still try and get as many as you can. I've got that Nexus being constructed, a little roach down there, just spying, staying in harm's way, like, oh, screw you guys, I don't want to get up there, that's going to burn. But sadly, I notice him, and that's gone. And another expansion going up for a Zerg player. He is now at the high yield as well, about to start production on there, I would expect. So, we've got 2 Colossus on the field right now, making their way, making sure that there's nothing up here. But, nothing to see here, nothing going on. Void Rays are now going to make their way out across the map, do a little bit of harassing, see what we can do to finally go on the offense, since I have spent most of this game on the defense. 2 more Colossus being produced, more Void Rays starting to pour out, another Colossus. So we got 3 Colossus being built right now. We have finally got the expansion built, starting to get some probes built for that. You can see I'm almost mined out in my main. Finally able to do something. And getting the Void Rays up, trying to take down a couple, losing one, backing up. But the good news is that Hydralisk Den is gone. So that's at least going to slow him down for a little bit, and I don't need to deal with Hydras so much anymore. And just keeping the harassing up, keeping him from getting back into a comfort zone or thinking that he needs to attack me, because he's going to be put a little bit more on the defensive right now. So taking out the Vesmine guys are not really a big hit. It only had 300 gas left in it, 196 left in the other one. And we're just kind of hiding them behind the smoke here. They had enough range to do their damage. So 2 Colossus finished there. 2 more Void Rays on their way up to join the party. 3 more Colossus down and waiting to get into some action, and using the smoke to my advantage to get away from the Hydras. Just waiting for some kind of an opening, taking out the Overlord that was sitting there trying to set up shop and get another expansion going. So he's not really producing drones at a rate that he should, but I mean, looking at the income still, he's dwarfing me. Just about 1,000 minerals per minute, and I'm only sitting at 500. So that's bad. He's getting 2 more hatcheries up and going at the main and the expansion just above me. And now it's time for the Colossus to start moving. So we got 3 making their way across the map, 2 more joining on the separate high ground up here. And that is going to be all that she wrote for this expansion. We got the Void Rays harassing up near the top, so a nice multi-pronged attack happening. And I think he tapped out a little bit early. However, with the lack of a Hydralisk Den, he really didn't have a whole lot to attack me with. I think he kind of knew at this point that it was pretty much over. Because from there, it was a push up. How much money did he have? So, he had a lot of money still sitting in reserve. Honestly, he probably still could have done some serious damage, but now that I was out and no longer contained, it was a good time to make the push against him.